Here we go. Welcome back to Jack Stands and Cinder Blocks. I don't see anybody in the chat yet. I'm going to run upstairs and make some phone calls and such. Hopefully we'll have some people in the live stream when I get back. All right. Hey, Chris. Hey, Mandy. Hey, whoever else is in the watching the live stream. We got a couple people logged in now. Looks like 2 or 3. We're here with the monkey bike. No Name National season is already upon us. And I've worked hard on this year's project. I didn't get the footage edited and out yet. Struggled with it. It was a struggle fest. And couldn't get the donor engine up and running. And it's a fuel injected engine. And it's a unique engine, which I have some experience swapping 8.1s. But I just couldn't get this donor 8.1 up and running and ready to start putting in the project truck. So El Burro Loco will not be at the track this year, but the monkey bike definitely will be making it. So that's the game plan. We're going to talk about the monkey bike. We're going to do a little bit to the monkey bike. We should have more than just a bike and a wall by now. I'm talking to the camera. Nobody watching? Anybody? Monkey bike? All right, so anyway, hopefully some of y'all are getting this. I don't know if we have good enough internet signal here at the project location. It's an Airbnb. We live stream upstairs. I was hoping we could live stream from downstairs. Looks like I got solid connection on the internet. Yeah, it took me a while. Yes, thank you. So anyway, we got the, I've talked a little bit about the project truck that's not going to make it to No Name Nationals. I don't know if anybody's tracking. Did you catch what I said about the other donor engine? Let the comments catch up to me here. Seems we have about a 2-minute lag. And I'll wait around a little bit, see if we can get some more people in the live stream. Can you hear me? No, it shows the mic is working. Well, let me call Miss Mandy there. Can you hear me or no? Well, I mean, I've seen like a 2 or 3 minute lag. You said I know that cup. Well, I've been here for 3 minutes talking to the camera. I feel like I'm talking to a camera. I'm not getting any feedback. Okay. Okay. Seems to be a lot of lag. Okay. So anyway, date one with the El Burro Loco truck's not going to make it to No Name Nationals. I've already said that. But maybe if you're late coming in, you might catch that now. So we got the monkey bike. We struggled last year just to get the engine together in time. Literally put it together in the pits, threw it on the frame of this bike. Made one practice pass and threw the chain. Went to go adjust the chain, found out my adjuster was already damaged beyond repair. We put new hardware in it. Still failed to be able to adjust the chain or tension of the chain by moving the motor. One set of bolts allows you to move the motor this way or that way on the frame to align to the rear sprocket. And then the other one allows you to move the motor this way, which would help you tighten the chain on the sprocket. Again, that part, Chinesium, it's aluminum, and really cheap hardware bolts that came with it. So we were unable to make any further adjustments at the track. On top of that, we broke the throttle cable that goes to the carburetor. Put a different throttle linkage on there. Wound up modifying the throttle cable housing, which was not good. Wound up modifying the cable housing, thinking that's what I needed to do to get it to work with the twist grip throttle. That wound up ruining my throttle cable. Asked around the pits to see if anybody else had a spare throttle cable. They were already starting to begin the actual runs for the monkey bikes at that point. Was unable to get and locate said parts. So eventually just absolutely failed to get this bike back on the track. Got to enjoy the rest of our time there at the No Name Nationals because I worked on this pretty much the entirety of the time I was there up until that point. Didn't get to enjoy myself. Made a couple quick shorts, maybe filmed some other stuff that wound up being edited videos later. And that's where the bike sits kind of to this day. Got it back to my work home. Was able to work on it for a bit. Added a chain tensioner down there. Still, I've ordered the other part and finally have that part. The adjuster to move the engine back and forth and such. I did add a tab that's welded to the frame that sticks up and has a bolt that goes through a thing that actually will push the engine forward to help add tension to the chain before cinching everything down. So maybe we don't have to cinch those bolts down so much and ruin the aluminum adjuster with the Chinesium hardware, because essentially we still have the same component. But like I said, I added something to the frame to help add tension to that and keep the tension on there. The engine itself actually runs pretty good. I've ridden the bike a few times since then, and as you can see, maybe right now, chain keeps coming off. Keeps throwing the chain, keeps throwing the chain, keeps throwing the chain. Just before this live stream started, I've ordered a new chain. I've ordered a new clutch. I actually ordered a new chain a couple days ago and found out I ordered the wrong chain. Ordered 420 chain, and then came back and took those measurements, put them in, and actually found some of the chain I bought last year. Some of the chain I bought last year, I bought, I think, a 10-foot section of chain, hardware store chain. I was informed that without high-speed chain, I was probably not just beating my head against the wall and would probably never be successful at getting that hardware store chain to stay on this bike. It has thrown the chain a couple times. It's thrown the chain and broke the chain. It's even broke the chain mid-ride. You name a scenario where the chain could come off, break, and or snag and lock up the rear wheel. I've had all the above. So one of my goals is to get front and rear, or at least front or rear brakes added to it. I currently have a clutch brake. Well, the clutch brake will only slow the bike down if you still have a chain attached. What's the most common failure on this bike? Throwing the chain or breaking the chain. So that's not a viable solution as a brake. What I have found is it gives you just a slight bit more where you can start revving it to where that clutch is starting to engage, hold that, and then release the clutch or this, and it takes off just a slight bit faster. But in the event I need that space for a real brake pedal or brake lever, that's coming off. So that will go. Still have our headband there. That's a requirement. And it has come in handy a few times. Just testing the bike in the garage, started the bike up, and my hand was still with the twisty throttle, and that bike tried to take off without me on it, and I finally had the presence of mind to go grab this, or I think I had it linked to my belt loop at the time, and just let go of the bike. Bike took off, hit the garage door, slammed in the garage door as this finally kicked in and shut the engine off. So there we go with that. We already had it last year, didn't get to use it. I was concerned about gear ratio, so I used the smallest tire I could, smallest flat and slick tire I could. But I've decided this tire is probably going to go on this year. We got a lot more flat surface there. I know neither one of them are true like drag slick. This is just a lawnmower tire, and it's made to be able to swivel on wet grass without tearing up the grass. But being that the track is a prepared surface, I think maybe if we ride this around a little bit, scuff it a little bit, maybe, I don't know, y'all tell me later in the comments or whatever, what if we put some sort of VHT compound on that, let it soak for a while, soften that rubber up a little bit, maybe it'll get an even better grip. I do note that, like the other tire there, it's got just a little bit of dome, not a lot. And I did notice as I was rolling this down here to the basement, yes, I'm in a place that has a basement, and I'm in the basement. Hopefully we still have good enough signal. That tire seems to have a lot of air pressure, and maybe we could do something about that too. So I've ordered a wheel that has both a drive side for a drive sprocket and another side where I can add a brake disc. Like I said, I've been wanting brakes on this thing, so let's try to get some brakes on it. Looks like I had a fourth person in the live stream. Yay! Welcome to everybody here. Don't be shy. Go ahead and jump in the comments, say hi. But anyway, the chain tensioner is another just a tab welded to the frame, sticks up, and then you could pitch the roller wheel a little bit, tighten it down. Haven't seen any improvement or failure there. If anything, it just kind of keeps the chain from rubbing the bottom of the frame down there. I love the exhaust. Exits in a really good spot there. It's tucked into the frame pretty good because we got the chain guard there as well. And the chain between the chain guard and where we're at, we don't seem to have any problems with this part of the exhaust. And then it exiting dead in the middle of the frame back there. Good stuff there. We do have, never got put on, rear fender, and it's just got 2 bolts, and they got a little tab there, just 2 bolts, 2 nuts, bam, stick it on there. So that never got put on. It wasn't a requirement, and I do recall having to weld this. So that was a piece. Those were just C-shaped pieces. I took a flat piece of sheet metal, bent it to match those, and welded it. And somewhere along the years, I want to say whoever I bought this from, they did a little bit of research, figured out this was like either Sears and Roebuck or Montgomery Wards from the 60s. So it is a true old school monkey bike. And there you go. For comparison, that tire is actually wider than the fender. So, order chain earlier. I think I mentioned this earlier. Ordered 420 chain and then found out, hey, Turbo Tom's in the house. We will see you at No Name Nationals. Unfortunately, the project vehicle I was working on is just not going to be anywhere near ready at the time. But we'll be bringing the monkey bike. So yeah, I'd ordered 420 chain, found out I needed 35 chain. The game plan was to add this jack shaft to chain from the clutch goes to the large sprocket, and then from the small sprocket to the rear axle will be the other. And if I had to, I could flip the wheel over and put the other sprocket on the opposite end, and also possibly even shift the engine further towards the center of the frame, because a lot of that engine sits outside the other side of the frame. That being said, I figured out this is not 35 size chain either. This is the next gauge up. So wherever I ordered that from, they just failed to specify what it was for. And I finally just got around to ordering it throughout the last year here and got it in. Then just went to mock things up the other day and found out that that doesn't fit either. So that's just the luck of Amazon, I guess. Maybe I could find, I think I did see some of the sprockets available in the proper tooth pattern. So maybe I will be able to take this raw diameter here and then figure out what sprockets I want to do and add a jack shaft to even further change the gear ratio into a deeper gear ratio. What else do we need to talk about? I think I've given you a pretty fair update on the status of the bike, status of the El Poro Loco truck and the 8.1 that was supposed to go into it. I'm going to go, let's see, we've got quite a bit of time left. I'm going to go ahead and start taking things apart. There we go. We've got the new adjuster. Unfortunately, from the same source. I know it's going to have the same Chinesium hardware that failed us last year. And we've got a few weeks left between now and No Name Nationals. And so I was just commenting on that earlier today, is I have time to break parts and order new parts before No Name Nationals. Last year at this time, I still hadn't bought a monkey bike. I didn't get the monkey bike until, I want to say 13 days before No Name Nationals. So I had just enough time for all the parts I ordered for it the day after I bought the thing. Most of those parts came in. Some of the parts got ordered, had to be delivered to the house, and Mandy had to bring them to me so we'd have time or have them available to put on the monkey bike, parts and or tools. So here we go. There's the adjuster. We'll take this engine off the frame, get this new adjuster mounted up. And then, like I said, maybe I'll be a little bit smarter about how tight I tighten the hardware, and we won't damage the hardware so badly. So talk amongst yourselves, I guess. Get a little chat going there. I don't know why I'm opening this bag yet. It's all that Chinesium hardware we need to probably go to the hardware store and replace with slightly better Chinesium hardware. Let's see if I can get this thing apart in a reasonable manner. We have the clutch brake there. I might need to dismantle that first before I go any further with trying to take the engine off the frame. Also, I need to disconnect the wiring for the dead man. And then I'm actually sitting on a milk crate right now. We might set the milk crate under the frame here. So I think Smart Money says remove the clutch thing first. And I think I saw that Allen key in one of these buckets over here. That might be the right size. Not the right size. I'm going to dig through those boxes, bring them over here. You love the koozie, huh? Yeah. Certain friend me and Mandy have in common made that koozie for me. Did a good job of it. All right, so here is one option of disc brake. I guess it's already pre-plumbed with its mineral oil in the hose and caliper. And there's the actual disc rotor. Front wheel has 0 provisions for that at this time. And the rear wheel only has provisions for the rear sprocket, the drive sprocket. So hopefully the new wheel will have provisions for this, or maybe the company that makes it will have their own sprocket that's available, and we'll be able to adapt that, or maybe get some sort of adapter made to adapt this to their wheel. We'll see. As you can see, I've got a backup throttle cable now. Who can imagine why, after breaking my only means to control the throttle last year at No Name Nationals. This is a hose barb that goes into the tank. It's a spare, because those commonly break on those tanks. Fancy fuel line, whatever. Guess we're all going through memory lane together here. This is the little twisty throttle thing. As you see, I do not have a twisty throttle on there now. I actually have a thumb throttle like a quad would have. Took a little adapting for these handlebars. My next goal is to actually put a little bit better handlebar on there, because this bar is just that kind of bar, and the curve continues until right about there. So I mean, you can see everything just does not quite fit these handlebars. So I've got new bars on the way with a riser, and they're going to be a little bit wider, but they're also going to be straight. So when we put stuff on there, everything should fit. Hardware. Here's a good one too, guys. This is the older, it's a Chinese remake of the Mikuni round slide valve carburetor. This one actually broke. The pin that goes in here that makes that barrel not rotate when it's sliding. It's a sliding barrel, but if that pin falls out, then the barrel wants to slide, and it gets stuck in like a quarter or 3/4 throttle position. Not fun when you're trying to stay on a bike and it's already revving up trying to go, because it's already up against the clutch and going. So looks like we had 7 people on their chat for a second, but we're back down to 4. So I did find the pin eventually after making a new pin out of a very small drill bit and JB welding it in place. I did eventually find the brass pin, and it's probably in one of these boxes right down here. And I'm still looking for the Allen key for that. And the newer carburetor did come with extra jets, so we can rejet the carburetor if we need to. Oh, even more of those. It screws into the bottom of the gas tank, lets you put your fuel line on there, because this little plastic nipple likes to break off, and then you don't have a way to connect gas to your gas tank from the gas tank to the carburetor. So I've got spares. So if somebody breaks that at the track, I will have some. Oh, these are spacers to space the clutch in or out on the crankshaft. This crankshaft has a shoulder on it. There's set screws, Allen set screws that you can put on to set your clutch, but I find this is a much more reliable method is to shim your clutch out to where you actually want it to be at. So got those. Oh, look at here. Did not know where these were. Haven't seen them in almost a year or over a year. We've got extra clutches, different various types, all available on the great Amazon. There's a bolt that goes into the end of your crank with the washer that also keeps the clutch kind of on the crank, just in case. 'Cause I don't trust those Allen set screws. They tend to back out, fall off, sling out, they'll never be seen again. And then you have no way of keeping your clutch on your crankshaft without those bolts on the end. Those bolts seem to hold a lot better. You can put a little bit of Loctite on them, this, that, and the other. And yet another clutch with no extra hardware with this. They're all from Amazon. I might do some clutch modifications here in the very, very near future. Let's see if I found the right Allen key. Oh, I need to visit like a bicycle shop or do something here. The end of this cable, I'll move my knee out of the way. The end of this cable, and it's just like a bicycle cable, and it's got raw cable at the end there, and they're very sharp. They're not very nice to your fingers. That doesn't fit either. All right, if y'all don't mind, I'm going to run upstairs. I've got a brand new Allen key set. We're going to find that Allen key set and see about taking that loose. I'm running out of totes to dig through to find said Allen key that should have came with this, or should still be in this box. Also, we might struggle a little bit. There's two bolts back here that hold this cover on, and those are put on with a wrench, and I don't have a wrench set here with me. So if I have a crescent, we might be able to get it. So we'll see how far we get with this project tonight. Be right back. Y'all stick around. All right. Hey, hey. Well, let's see, some of the lurkers have joined the chat. Best Harbor Freight can offer, Allen keys. We'll see what we got. And they do have a lifetime warranty. Woohoo, swanky. You know what'll happen is I'll lose them all and won't be able to warranty them because they'll be missing and not broken. That's how that stuff works. And they know that. Bring a light over here, spare lights. try. That's impossible. Don't remind me not to lose that spring, as I lose it. And then this barrel, I guess we'll call that a cable barrel, because the cable goes through it, and it presses against the spring causes the return, but the cable pulls against the barrel, activating that clutch brake. And now, I'm gonna have to run for pliers or something here. Oh. There we go. Whew. All right, so we might have to replace that whole cable because it's effectively shaped more like a Z than it needs to be. So we'll tuck that in for now. It'd be right here. So, oh boy, probably have to break the chain link, find the master link or something. Because the way I've got my chain and my clutch, got the clutch bell here, the chain is between the engine crankcase and the clutch bell. So it's in there in a way where it can't come off at the front. And then at the back, we've got the rear axle holding it. So let's see what I can do about that. Oh, I see master link already. So I'm gonna need some pliers. She calls dibs on what? It's robotic size. Oh, the Allen keys. Yes, they are. Turkey. I might be able to pull that loose by knocking it loose with a pocket knife. See what I can do. I'm gonna have to relocate to the other side, and I'm also gonna change the camera angle for you guys. See, now you can see the bike and more of the bike junk. Sitting on the floor. And if you have the right tool for this, use the right tool, because pocket knife, pokey pokey. Y'all just laugh and watch when I poke myself with this thing. Think if I had a flat blade screwdriver. You know what? I'm more likely to find some form of screwdriver in the work truck than needle nose pliers, but I do have some pliers out there. So let's go see what I got. We'll be back in 2 to 3 minutes. Y'all talk amongst yourselves. Didn't find pliers on that trip. All right. I did find something slightly less sharp. Okay. I saw it come off. I know it's about right here. Well, look. There it is. The most important part of the master link, the spring. We got it. Oh, wait. There's more. An additional master link nearby. That's how many times this chain's been broke. That master link is 1, 2, 1.5, 2 links away from the other master link. Come on, there we go. All right. And if I had a Ziploc bag, I'd put that in there. All right, so we're going to work on getting the, let's see, we're working on wiring next. Oh, well, that's hardwired. This one's just bolted to the head. That's an easy one. Just unbolt it. The other one, I'm going to have to cut it because I don't have any sort of connector there where I could disconnect it. Well, there you go. 5 people in the chat now. Hi, 5th person. Appreciate y'all's company, loyal viewership, what have you. So put this master link together. Maybe. There we go. Put together. Here's one. The day I bought this, I headed back to my work location. We were actually done with the project at the time, but we were waiting for materials to arrive. The materials we ordered the day we started the project. That's how quick we finished that project. Had to wait there till the following Monday till the materials arrived so I could take them back with us. But to work on the monkey bike, I stopped at, I want to say, Tractor Supply and bought this socket set. Which one? I bet that Allen key fits over there. When I go over there. All right, so the one thing that's missing from this socket set, I'll let you guess. We got a 3/8 drive ratchet and 1/4 inch drive socket. And yes, that's the part that's missing, the adapter. Let me see if I can go find pliers that I went looking for last time. If y'all want a beer, I'll get y'all a beer too. Who wants a beer? Let me know. I hate leaving every time. I didn't prepare very well, did I? right. Your host of the show is back. Pliers this time. I didn't grab cutters, did I? You know what? Yeah, I'm going to use pliers on that one to save a connection. I can. And tomorrow I get to buy a 1/4" drive to 3/8 drive adapter. Because the one in that kit has been missing approximately since the Clifford truck caught fire. When the Clifford truck caught fire, I hustled to take the entire dash assembly out to get to the fire, because the fire was coming out of the dash. All right, let's pick up the wire there. Fire was rumbling out of the dash. Turned out it was actually in the heater. The heater core caught fire due to the rodent's nests that were in the dash at the time. Yes, I said rodent's nests, plural, because there was a whole hotel, condominium, so to speak, of rodents that had lived in that Clifford truck. Starting with when I first opened the door, I immediately saw tunnels through the seat where they had tunneled in and burrowed in and lived in the seat of the truck. And the entire floor was probably 3 inches of, yes, not fun. So we've cut said wires. Actually, that actually pulled out of the connector. That got cut. So anyway, we'll fix that at a later time and date, especially before we test ride this thing, because I do think it's imperative to keep that dead man up and working on this monkey bike for reasons. It's pretty wild, pretty radical cam in there, and when it goes, the whole bike goes. So we're going to work on this. We'll get this engine out, and then we'll replace the engine mount. That'll probably be where we call it a day on this particular live stream as far as working on the bike. I do believe the next set of, oh my goodness, we'll see. The next set of tools. Oh, we are so dead in the water. Yeah, there is no putting a ratchet to that. I believe I can get a ratchet under the bottom, get the engine out. One other thing. I think this is the mistake I made before. Went to take the engine out to adjust the chain or do something. Remember I talked about that other carburetor, that rotary slide? Oh, barrel-shaped slide. I took this loose, disconnected the throttle cable, and when I slid that barrel up out of the carburetor to disconnect the throttle cable from that barrel, probably when we lost that pin originally. So we're going to go ahead and take this loose. Go. There we go. And there we go. We'll put, oh man, that still has some old, it's old, 1 year old, but it is race gas. And it smells so much better than regular pump gas. That back in. Yes, the barrel went in straight. The fun part will be getting that barrel back out later when I need it back out for to connect to the throttle cable. There we go. So that's disconnected as well. And we'll go ahead and disconnect the lower mount tonight. And I guess I'll try to do my best to keep the conversation going for you guys, because I'm trying to complete a full hour. I see we have a 6th person in the chat. If you don't mind, go ahead and jump in and say hi. Ooh, that needs deep well sockets. Boy, we just did not plan very well for this. I do think I might be able to stand the bike up so I can see better and so you guys can see, and hopefully we're not going to leak gas everywhere. We'll see. I think my favorite mod on the monkey bike is actually this twist handle start. That video got quite a few views, and it wasn't even why it's my favorite mod to the bike. When I was at No Name Nationals last year, pulling that pull rope, the decompression on the particular cam that's in here wasn't very functional. And every time I pull that rope, it would try to start, but it would try to start before top dead center, and it would yank the rope back out of my hand because it was starting in reverse. Caused a lot of pain in my hand. Let's see about this. Maybe just there. And lean it against the wall. Do that. Come on over here. Slow the chat there, buddy. There we go. There's some stuff for me to get in here. Okay. So, shopping list for tomorrow. Replace the absolute cheapest Chinesium bolts I've ever come across in my life. That's what caused the initial failure there. We over-torqued those and gouged into the rails and stuff. Not to say that better hardware won't gouge into those rails, but those just kept stretching and stretching and stretching and stretching. We never felt like it was tight, and the motor kept moving. Then when we needed to move the motor, we loosened the hardware, went to move the motor and readjust it, and the hardware was just dug in. So anywho, we did replace that hardware with some SAE hardware. I think it was even grade 8. I want to say it was Mike and Meek from Empire of Rust donated the hardware. And because these slots are made for metric hardware, those aren't metric. We wound up having to do some modifications again, further irritating the problem of it not wanting to let it slide. There we go, we got one loose. I say loose, it's turning, not loose yet. There we go. And we are, what, 40, 50 minutes in? Not bad. Talking to myself for 40, 50 minutes. And I don't even have any known psychological issues that I know of. Talk to my wife or the VA, we might have a different story. I can talk to myself for hours. After the time I had in the military, solitary confinement didn't sound like a punch. Hey, Landon, how's the mic? Hey, brother, Jake, thanks for joining me. I hope you aren't stuck with the lag. Some people have a couple-minute lag, and then I've kind of figured out some people don't have the same lag. I do talk to myself for hours. Here's your list of problems you don't have. Yes. Well, in the military, you talk to the VA, you need to tell them all the problems you do have. And make them sound worse than they are. I've learned that already. I got tonight on everything except for tinnitus. I'm like, really? Y'all know who freaking caused all these issues. Now you're gonna deny it? Not service connected. Well, if anything, you made a list. Yeah, I need to start like documenting everything for those people. I'll put it real nice. Hey, I need the earplug lawsuit too, because I wore those things every time I went to the range. And I went to the range a lot. Once they figured out I could shoot anything, and I was good at shooting anything, and I didn't mind doing it. To me, it was a free day out of work. I got to go shoot shit for fun. I mean, training, free day out of work. But I shot a lot. That's because of it. Wish y'all could see this bolts right here. Yeah. Anyway, I'll show you that. Here we go. Handful of nuts. That's all you get. Almost. Another quarter turn. We'll have it. So, to those of you who came in late, like Cousin Mike, trying to work on the monkey bike here, get it ready for this year's No Name Nationals. The El Boro Loco truck with the 8.1. Can't get the 8.1 to start, so I haven't started the swap yet, and we're out of time to do that swap. Unless I was to have a whole bunch of people show up and we have a whole big party working on that truck. It's just not going to happen this year. So, and I still need some parts. I know I need some parts for it. I just don't know what parts I need because I never got to start. I've been ordering parts for a bit. So, I mean, I've got like the fuel injection type fuel supply system added to or purchased. I even bought the racing style fuel lines and stuff that they would, yeah, we got robotics coming up too. They've got the racing style fuel lines that I know the tech inspectors like to see. Rather than last year, I was trying to reuse the hard steel lines and then just splice in the proper fittings instead of rubber line. Use the high pressure nylon fuel lines with the quick connect clips. The kind you have to have a special tool to release. Well, the repair style ones come with a little thing, but you have to flare the steel line first to take those. You put that on there and you just clip it shut, done. But you wind up with about 3 or 4 inches of vinyl fuel line at every splice point along the frame rail. And then I did my math afterwards and figured out I still would have been technically outside their soft fuel line mandate, even though I could say, hey, this is the bare minimum I could do to make those tools fit together and all that stuff. And then also, you got to consider the length of the truck. It's not just your average, rail car, race car. The truck's like 22 feet long. So, hey, Duxter's here. I have no fear Duxter's here. I guarantee he said that. Yes, he did. Hey, Duxter, yes, we're working on the monkey bike. I told about some of the woes we had last year with it, the throttle cables and chains coming off. Even after I got it back, the few rides I've had since then, it's just managed to either break the chain, fling the chain, and then break it. So I'm going to be working on a new motor mount that allows all the lateral and forward and aft adjustment, even though this is made of the same aluminum Chinesium stuff that we had on the other one. And then this is the hardware that comes with that kit. And what we're going to try to do is find better grade hardware. So when we do cinch it down, it stays cinched down. We fought with that last year when we cinched it down, the hardware just kept stretching and stretching and stretching. Never would really stay tight. I have added a mod where there's a tab there and a bolt with a nut welded to the tab. So we got a vertical tab, nut welded to it, we run that bolt in, and it pushes the engine forward to help keep the chain tension tight. We've also talked about the possibility of adding a jack shaft, which would mean I'd probably have to flip the rear wheel to where the drive's on the other side, so we could have the chain hooked to the jack shaft on this side, and then have a secondary chain possibly on the other side if we run out of room here for both sprockets. The downside to these is I found out these sprockets aren't the same pitch as the chain for this bike. I ordered the wrong size chain previously. I ordered 420 chain, and then found out I have the 3/8 number 35 chain. So I've ordered 35 chain from a reputable source. I think Dougster is the one that reminded me last year that I was just using hardware store chain, and the hardware store chain will not hold up to this kind of use and abuse. So I have ordered actual motorcycle or mini bike chain, high-speed chain. So getting you caught up there, Dougster. So I mean, you come in at 58 minutes, and I just reiterated about 45 minutes worth of stuff in 2 minutes flat. Thanks for joining us, both Mike and Dougster. So, and I think this is probably Dougster's night for his live stream. So, I saw a loophole where I was going to be able to do a live stream tonight. I actually tried to do a live stream simulcast both on here and TikTok. Couldn't get my TikTok set up in time. I did about a 30-second live stream right before I turned the camera on for this, just to test. And there's a way I'm supposed to be able to link it in the StreamYard to do both. But being that I've just did my first live stream on TikTok, we're not going to worry about that this week. We'll do it next time I do a live stream. Uses turbo chain. Well, high-speed chain will probably be enough, but turbo chain might be even better. So we got up to 8 people now here at the last couple of minutes of this live stream. We already disconnected we took the chain off. Now our dead man is inactive because we disconnected those wires. We disconnected the throttle cable. We've disconnected the clutch brake as well, which I'll probably just be taking the clutch brake completely back off in preparation for either front or rear brakes. We just need to come up with an adapter for the front brake. And I just ordered a wheel tonight that has provisions for both rear drive and a rear brake. So it's got the hub. It's got a hub with the bearings, free spins on the axle, but then one side's got your sprocket part that the hub attaches to, and then the other side will have the brakes. So hey everyone, Mohawk 62 is here as well. He's one of the first people that I met when I went to No Name Nationals the very first time. So, although he wasn't the first person to recognize me, that would be Mark. I believe he was in New York or Pennsylvania. He was working on a really, really old, like a round body Chevy or GMC. But Mohawk was the very next person to say hey to me and know me by name. It's not yellow. What's supposed to be yellow? Although we do have time between now and No Name Nationals, if I want to paint this bike. I originally had come up with a paint scheme. It was going to be tomato red, and then I was going to paint some of the fenders and accents like green and call it the Killer Tomato. I don't know. Ironically, the town I'm working in here in Nebraska had a tomato factory that got shut down. The only reason they got shut down, they were very successful at producing the tomatoes. They got shut down by ICE because all of their employees, with the exception of the few Americans, weren't here legally. And so when they got ICE busted like 3 times in a row within a month, the people who owned that factory just decided to shut it down. So the Killer Tomato would be even funnier coming out of here. So anyway, I think if I can pick this engine up just right, we'll be able to pull the exhaust right there out, and the engine will be out of the frame. And then we'll just fight with putting the new engine mount bracket in maybe tomorrow or so. So being that we don't have the right hardware for it or the right tooling to even remove the engine from the other bracket, because one side allows the engine to slide one way, and the other side allows the whole engine to slide forward and aft on the brake to tension your chain. And we don't have the right wrenches here with me right now to be able to remove that engine from that bracket. Oh, goodness. Oh, she hasn't been out in a while. Well, those bolts are tight there. Snug fit. And howdy, everybody who came. All 8 of y'all. All right. Let's see what we do here. Set this back down. Taking a vote, since I have you guys here, any color changes I should make to the bike, please state them in the next couple live streams. Man, hardware is not giving up. Pry bar? Flat bar? I brought next to no tools with me. And when I do a pink, really, we're not doing a pink bike. Not unless you're riding it. Killer tomato. Yep, killer tomato it is. So the black will become John Deere green or whatever color green. Or we'll call it the rotten tomato. How's that? Ooh, there we go. Remember I told y'all about the tensioning bolt? That might very well be pinning that hardware I think it's metric. Let's go up to the metric side. I think it's pinning those bolts in there where I can't release it. We have an extension. We have that tool at least. I can't quite read those comments from here, but I'll get over there in a minute. Yes, we even had a problem in the pits. Went to put the side plate back on the engine after putting the cam and deleting the governor. Went to put the side plate on, and somehow we stripped out, I'd say, more than half of the holes in the crankcase. So I had to run to the nearest auto parts store, get a helicoil kit, the proper drill bit set to work the helicoils. And I actually paid more for the drill bit set than I did for the helicoil. That was fun. And then I stayed in their parking lot until I got every one of those holes helicoiled and got the case put back together. Because I didn't want to go back to the track and then run out of helicoils or need other parts and tools. So I stayed in their parking lot until I got that together. And I did get it together. Oh, that's what it was. All right. So, remember I said earlier how a majority of the engine, I'll adjust the camera angle, try to hold that position. Oh, there we go. The majority of the engine kind of hangs out this side, even though right now it's even further out. The majority of the engine's on this side of the bike due to trying to line up the chain with the rear sprocket. So, and I put the clutch to where it was inboard as much as I could. we now have the engine out of the frame. And at one time, this frame was blue. I will show you that here shortly. So I would say, was that Montgomery Ward's blue? And then red would have been probably Sears and Roebuck, maybe. Sears and Craftsman. But we're talking about the 60s, maybe early 70s for those parts. So yes, we are finally out of the bike. Breast cancer awareness bike. You know, I don't mind breastfeeding or breast cancer awareness, but I know why Mandy was saying that. It's just to be cantankerous. You know, I actually used to have a hot pink pearl snap shirt in high school. Asked Mandy what color shirt I was wearing the day she laid a kiss on me and gave me her phone number. Could have very well been that shirt. I am putting the Allen key back in the Allen key set now, just so I can keep those together. Let's see what else we could do with lighting here. It is a basement, and a lot of their lights do not work at this time, and it's not my building. All right, that's better, I guess. I make shadow puppets on the walls, maybe. So pink, everybody keeps saying pink. But anyway, Mandy's just cantankerous. I'm still thinking the red and green, call it the killer tomato or what have you, rotten tomato. Lots of work left to do on the bike, and I saved a lot of this for you guys for tonight, just so I'd have something to do besides just talk to the camera. Let me work on the camera. And also, maybe, that fire. Maybe. All right. I know there's probably quite a delay for you guys. Y'all probably haven't even seen me take the engine out yet. But, the bike's trying to fall, the engine's trying to fall, and they're all falling off the brick. Pick up the rear tire from the front of the bike. Here we go. So clearly I need to get some basic tools again to be able to work on the monkey bike. I know I have a crescent wrench out in the truck today, out there. I just didn't pick it up and bring it in today, and I should have in preparation for this. Mohawk, please, by all means, bring a monkey bike as well. If not, bring some sort of mini bike or pit bike. I have a side project I might throw in at the last minute. I have a garden scooter, not powered, like you just have to sit on it, like I'm sitting on this milk crate, and it's got 4 wheels on it. You scoot side to side, work on your garden. Well, I used that extensively on a project this year at work, and now we're done with it, and I have that. And the running joke is I should make it like electric, and I might just, the seat spins anyway, just sit on it and just have like a thumb button and maybe some pegs where I can pick my feet up and put them on the pegs and just, and then stop when I get to where I need to steer, because it has no provisions for steering whatsoever. But maybe if I lower the air pressure, I could kind of maybe lean steer a little bit like a skateboard. But we'll see if I do that or not. It's going to take a little bit of funding, at least electric motor and a controller, even if I power it off of maybe some drill batteries, battery powered drill batteries or something. So thanks y'all for coming for just a little over an hour. I know most of y'all just joined, well, about half of y'all just joined in the last, I'd say 15, 20 minutes. But thanks for coming either way. And if y'all want to throw some more ideas out there, I know we're, always fixing things somewhere. I have worked on vehicles in some of the worst places in the world and some of the most beautiful places in the world. Hey, let me turn one of these lights. Just trying to figure out which one it is. I guess this one is the worst. Point that at the ceiling or something where you get some reflective light. So anyway, I worked on a Mark III Toyota Supra in the hotel parking lot in it was in Germany, on the border of Germany and Austria, in a ski resort parking lot. We had the whole ski mountain over here and all the ski slopes. You could see them, and the other side was just beautiful mountain range without ski slopes, but just beautiful scenery. And it was apparent to me I needed to fix my car before trying to go skiing or snowboarding, because that was my one way in and out of there. And it was a holiday weekend. I think it was Christmas break. And so we discovered we had an oil leak. And then I went to go fix it and found out somebody had used a wood screw to secure the valve cover. Not only did they do that, when they put the wood screw in, they just drilled into the soft aluminum adjacent to where the valve cover screw was, jammed that joker in there, and I'd been driving it that way for a while. So when this screw finally came loose, we had new issues. It sucked in all that sharp in aluminum from when the screw went in. Then I didn't even realize it yet. I went and drilled and tapped the hole back out to where I could get a 6mm screw in there. And mind you, when I found a 6mm screw, it was the only store open that day, and those stores were going to be closed for several days afterwards because it was Christmas break and we were in Germany. And man, those people roll up their sidewalks at dark as it is, with the exception of the bars and restaurants, and they roll up their sidewalks when they roll them up as well. So I did manage to get it together, did my skiing and stuff, drove it back to post, and then about a week and a half later, we discovered where all that sharp went. Got picked up by the oil pump, wound up going everywhere in the engine. Yeah, it wasn't fun. So ruined a good engine over somebody else's shortcut. And then I had to learn the word sharp because I needed to explain this to people in mechanical terms that would explain, hey, that metal from them drilling and tapping the hole, yeah, that metal is called sharp. And once it's in your engine, it's not good for the engine. So smells good down here. Smells like the one-year-old race gas that's in this tank right next to me. Needs car cleared out. Get the dead man switch hooked up. Yes, definitely need a dead man switch. The more mods you do to these bikes and the faster they accelerate, the more you're going to find that dead man switch to be a lifesaver. Like I said earlier in this stream, we probably weren't here at the time. There's been a few times where I've started this bike and things went wrong and it went go. And it went go, and your natural instincts to hold on tighter, right? Well, that's the reason I no longer have the twisty throttle on here, because every time I would hold on to that twisty throttle, the bike's trying to go. Guess what you're doing? You're twisting the throttle somehow or another, and it's trying to go. And then it's trying to go, and you're giving it more throttle, and it's trying to go more. So now I have a thumb throttle like you would have on a quad, and I'm much happier with that. And once I get the straighter, flatter bars where I can fit all the brakes and levers and stuff on there flat and level, because these bars are just kind of, they do all the curves all at once. And I mean, even the grips are kind of where the rubber hand grips are still turned. So, I mean, there's no flat part on these bars for good stuff like your throttle, your brake cable, your brake levers. This just never fit well. And that was also another problem I had with the old twisty throttle. On these bars, the twisty throttle had nowhere to be securely mounted. So if you tried to mount it, it was great one time. The next run, the whole thing was flopping everywhere. And then you're trying to hold one part, twist the other part. And you can't do that while you're trying to ride the thing. So yes, point of that is, yes, get your dead man hooked up and wear it every time you start the motor. This motor, I think, like I said earlier, my favorite mod was the wind-up spring. You get that spring wound up before you ever try to start the engine. So then you have at least one hand to control the throttle, press that button with your thumb, and you got both feet securely located on the ground. You got your dead man hooked up to your belt loop or whatever. So when you start that thing, if it tries to go, just got to remember, let go. let it run. Dead man's going to yank that thing loose, or it's going to run into something. Hopefully it doesn't run into something expensive. You know, aim it somewhere not expensive. So anyway, we're working on a monkey bike, and we're going to continue working on monkey bike in the next couple videos or live streams and what have you. We do have some more long form stuff coming out. Probably a Kia video and a fail video. A fail of me trying to start that 8.1. I did a lot of stuff. I got it all hooked up, did it all hooked up right. I've double checked, triple checked that work. Part of it was I just didn't know how to take the VATs out of the ECU before trying to start it. Well, we did eventually get VATs removed from the ECU. Still trying to use the factory style ECU on the 8.1, which is basically the same ECU as an LS. A lot of the connectors are the same connectors. A lot of the injectors are the same. The difference is crank position sensor. Actually, it's in the right spot. They moved the cam position. Well, cam position sensors at the front on the 8.1, crank cam position sensors at the back next to the crank on the LSs. So had to lengthen that wire. Had to lengthen a couple wires for the knock position sensors. But anywho, that video is coming after the Kia video, and that might be my last long form video before No Name Nationals this year. So we'll see you guys there, and thank y'all for coming. If y'all have any more comments, please jump in there with comments and leave them. Otherwise, have a good night. Y'all behave, and if you can't behave, at least have fun. See you next time.